Hello there guys, my name is EP104 and welcome back to another episode of Space Engineers. So, I released a ship a few days ago and it was a very, well, in my opinion it was a very awesome ship and I loved building it and I loved the colour scheme and the size and the shape of it all. And it was the Guardian. So what the Guardian is designed to do is just to be a fast-paced shoot and scoot type of vessel that is able to drop off troops and get out of there quite quickly. And I think I've converted the ship quite well to do that, as well as giving it a freaking immense paint job. I really love the paint job on this with the wings and stuff, and it is one of my favourite coloured ships. And as you can see, I've gone with another two-tone sort of base coat, so it's like a kind of greyish and a white, and that really does help make it look a lot more different in different bits of light, and it really does give it a bit more character, I think. But yeah, this is one of the ships that I've really did enjoy building, and all these ships I have enjoyed building, in all fairness, but this one more so. So this thing it's got quite a few weapons. It's got 4 of the 23mm cannons, 2 of the 50mm cannons, and it's also got a cannon, well, a turret underneath. The whole idea of that is, if I get rid of this block here, the whole idea of that turret is to shoot down, shoot any enemy that is below, behind, in front, or to the sides of the craft, because it has a 360 spin on it. And yeah, I figured it was a nice idea, and I managed to fit it into the ship quite well. I did want to put one on the roof, but it was a bit more tricky, and I think I may still try for one on the roof just to give it a bit more defense. But right now I'm happy with how it is. So for any of those who are opposed to the hole in the wings thing, just to let you know, Space Engineers does actually cater for weight in ships, and the heavier a ship is, the slower it will pull off and whatnot, and the more thrusters you'll have to add to make it move a lot faster. Now, it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you do remove these patches of material, it does actually have a great impact on the weight of the ship. And doing it on the center one doesn't seem like a lot, but it does have some sort of effect, and it does actually make the ship slower overall, as well as it makes it more of a target, because if you've got this large this large flat space of blocks, you are more entitled to get hit by stuff. And if you've got the holes in the wings, it just means that bullets can zip through there rather than hitting you. So it kind of aids with defensive capabilities of the craft. So that's just for anyone who is opposed to it. I like the idea of how putting the holes in the wings and outlining them and everything. It really does add a bit more character to the ship. But again, everyone's opinion to their own. It's I like it, and a lot of other people like it. But I think without further ado, let's go inside, because a lot of the ship is the same. It's just shorter on the back section and smaller in width as well with the wings. I've actually brought the wings in considerably, and I've toned down on the body size a lot as well. And yeah, so as you come in, you've got just a standard door as you do. You've also got the ramp, which allows you to just load on and off, getting people on and off the craft a lot easier, and docking with stations and stuff. You don't particularly connect to the station when you put this out, but you have some method of walking onto the station, getting off the station without having to park quite close. So they're useful. And they've also got a door control which just opens and closes the door. Now, of course, this doorway and the cockpit doorway, they both have the oxygen force fields in, so you can use those to your advantage. And if, say, the door was to get damaged, you've still got this second line of defense which is keeping all the oxygen in. If then this falls, you've got this other door which doesn't have an oxygen partition, but it's still a door, it still gets in the way. And then of course the next one, you've then got the force field again, so the cockpit is protected. So it's got 3 means of protecting the cockpit from any sort of damage. And I know this is light armor, but again, the ship is designed just to get in there, get out of there, and if it does take a whole heap of damage, then it should be able to take it. But worst comes to worst, it blows up and everyone dies, like everything in life, right? That got really serious really quickly, Jesus. But anyway, we got this main room. Well, this is not this main room. We got this back room, and this back room is just for 4 passengers to sit in, and these could be like a special elite squad that you're going to be dropping off. It could be a small crew of scientists or something that you're taking to a planet, whatever. It's just there so you can stock up on crew and separate the crew from the rest of the ship. So you could be escorting prisoners in this, and you could just lock them in there and have no issues with mixing people with the prisoners. So that's another way of thinking about it. But it has got oxygen in here, it's got lights, you turn the lights on and off as normal. But we've then got this other room, which is more like a general operations and engine room. As you can see here, we've got the reactors under there. We've got quite a lot of small reactors, which is the hum you're hearing from the craft. There are a lot of them, so a lot of them amounts to a lot of noise, unfortunately. I was going to try and fit in the large, the small versions of the large azimuth reactors, but they wouldn't fit that well, and it looked a bit janky, so I went, screw it, let's leave that out for now. I may try and revisit it, because literally 2 reactors can do what, say, 40 reactors or something are doing. So it's pretty ridiculous, and it really needs to be sorted, but that was the easier way to do it, and I may rethink that later on. But in here we've just got timers, which will work with some stuff. Some ones you can configure to do certain things. It depends on what the ship's role is to what you configure them to do. If you want the guns to fire at certain rates, if you want other things like that, you can do that. So it's it's there to be customized, and it's there to be changed per mission. So it's quite cool. I like the fact that I've incorporated that into the craft. Now we do have 2 seats here. These are just for to like engineers, computer people, I don't know, just like the people who would be maintaining these engines and whatnot, and they'd have to rip these apart, get inside, fix them if the thing got shot, and just all that other gubbins. And then walking into here, because it is a very, very simplistic ship. So simplistic, in fact, that we have the beacon and the antenna in the cockpit on the front. I know it's not ideal and they don't look the best, but I didn't want to stick them on the outside just in case they did get shot and stopped working. That was my main problem. So I put them on the inside, and couldn't really find any space, in all fairness, with everything else that's been packed into this. But we've got 2 seats on the back. We've got a comms and a gunner. So that's the gunner and that's the comms. The comms has control over the beacons, antenna, turn all that stuff on, off and on, and just be able to increase the range, decrease the range, and all that gubbins. And then we have the gunner, who has control over just the turret, because the pilot, because he can see what's in front of him, has control over the forward mounted guns. So if we jump in here, you'll see he's got access to the Gatling turret. And if we just go into the control of this, you can see everything that's going on. Now we are actually in the station there, because he's glitched a little bit and you can see the block next to it, but we can fire. Some things do take damage under there, but as long as you're careful and a bit wise to where you're shooting, you should be fine. I think some of the hitboxes are a little bit off with the guns and all that, and how close blocks are to the guns, and that depends and shows if you're going to hit it or not. So that's a small problem, but it can be fixed, I'm sure. So jumping into the cockpit now, you'll notice this thing does move left and right. Well, it tilts, and rotates quite well, and it does move a lot faster than the Galamir and the Salvador. Reason why is I've given it more forward thrust. It actually has 6 thrusters, large thrusters that push it forwards, and then anything else that I've added to it just to give it that extra oomph on the wings. It is a lot easier to control, and it does spin around a lot faster, so you can get the angles on the enemy and shoot them down. The power usage is also a lot better. It's not over exaggerated. The best part about using the smaller reactors is I'm not only using like 3% of the reactors, I'm actually using 80%. Can I push it to 90? No, most I get is about 80 something. So 89. So it's it's still got a bit to be used, but it's almost at full capacity, which is kind of good. So yeah, I mean, I'm quite happy with how it's turned out in all fairness. And the colour scheme for me, I was so happy with how I coloured this thing, and because I was unsure when I first did it, and like I always keep saying to you guys, if you're unsure on something, try it out anyway, and you know, build it, see how it looks. Does it look okay? Yes, keep it. No, tweak it, delete it. If that doesn't work, just keep going back into that process again. It takes time. I must admit, I painted this thing about 7 or 8 different colours before I got to what I wanted, and I ended up with like a 2-tone grey and white colour with a red, and the red really does look gorgeous, I think. And I like the mismatch with the blue and the solar panels as well. It really does give it a bit more detail, and looking at it head on as well, kind of looks, I don't know, looks like some sort of animal. It's weird. But yeah, I really do like this craft, and I hope you guys do as well. I've been talking for way too long. I hope you guys have a good Back to the Future day today, and I will see you guys in the next episode of Space Engineers. If you have enjoyed, please like, favorite, and of course subscribe for more. I'll see you guys later. Peace!